Hi, everybody. My name is Danielle Fair, and I am the program director for the Pediatric Rheumatology Fellowship at Children's Wisconsin in Milwaukee. And I am here today with all the faculty that are pediatric rheumatologists here at Children's Wisconsin to kind of tell you a little bit more about ourselves as faculty so you can get to know us and decide kind of whether or not you may want to come interview with us. Of July of 2023 is when I started as the program director, so it's just my first year, but I have been on as faculty since 2020. And actually, I completed both my pediatric residency and my fellowship here, both at Children's as well. So in part of what I do here as faculty is I am a clinician educator. So I really enjoy the aspects of being in clinic and also being involved heavily in teaching with our medical students, residents, and then especially with the fellows. I also do the clinic program director. So I help kind of be the in-between for how our clinic is running between our MAs and our nurses and our faculty, and make sure that if there are processes that need to be fixed or things that need to be dealt with to help improve our patient care over in the clinic, I help mediate that between all the different people that are involved. I'm also very highly involved in ultrasound. I did complete the US Sonar course when I was a fellow because I love ultrasound so much. And so I am one of the 2 faculty who do diagnostic ultrasound of joints as well as steroid injections. Some of my other areas of interest is I've done some research in mental health. I'm also highly involved in our quality improvement goals here to really improve, again, that clinic flow, patient satisfaction in the patient care. We do a lot of different small QI projects, and I like to help co-lead that with Dr. Sarah Sabag. Other things I do is I'm highly involved in our board review for our fellows. I meet weekly with the fellows to go over the board prep as well as board questions to prepare you for when you will take the pediatric rheumatology boards. Other than that, I do a lot of community work outside of the hospital. I am involved with the Arthritis Foundation here in Wisconsin. And part of my job with them is being the medical director of the annual camp that is run in the Wisconsin Dells every year. So I get to hang out with the kids there as well as help plan camp throughout the year leading up to camp. So that's one of my highlights that I love doing every year. Here today, as I said, we have all the different faculty with me today that you'll get to meet. They're going to tell you a little bit about themselves. We have a vast array of interests among our faculty, which I think makes us really special because it provides you with a lot of different knowledge in terms of all the different interests that they do, as well as experience. But we all are very collaborative and work really well together. And as I always like to say when I tell people is that one of the reasons I chose to stay here after I did my residency and my fellowship is because not only are they faculty, but a lot of the faculty in our division feels like a family to me. We really are caring for each other and work really well together. And I've really appreciated that, especially being on as a early faculty. So you'll find that there's a mix of young and more senior experienced faculty. We have basic science, we have PhDs, we have different people that are interested in clinical or translational science, as well as multiple other clinical educators. We do have a smaller size, which has allowed us to stay very close and feel kind of tight-knit like a family, which I think does a lot for you as a fellow because you get to know all of us very well and feel very comfortable with all of us to be able to come to us with any questions or concerns. So to start it off, we're going to start with the newest addition to our faculty, which is Dr. Emma Ostenfeld.
Hi, I'm Emma Ostenfeld. I came to MCW in 2017 for my pediatrics residency, and then I stayed on for rheumatology fellowship. That was part of the reason I wanted to come here for my pediatric training, is because I knew this was a strong rheumatology division, and I was already interested in pursuing that degree as the final stage of my medical education. And then I joined the department as faculty in July of 2023. I am in the clinician educator pathway, so most of my time is spent seeing patients in clinic and participating in medical education. I particularly enjoy working with the medical students and residents who participate in our pediatric rheumatology elective. During my fellowship, I also completed additional certification in medical education research. I think MCW and Children's are a special place to work because the hospitalists and subspecialists here really embrace a spirit of intellectual vitality. They love collaborating on challenging cases and teaching medical students and residents. So it's just such a fun place to learn together to enhance patient care. And it's been a great site for me to transition from the role of student to now attending and faculty member.
I'm Sarah Sabag. I started in our division in April 2020. I'm actually from Milwaukee, and I was really excited to come back. I spend the majority of my time doing research, and I study juvenile dermatomyositis. As part of that, I see JDM patients in clinic, and I enroll them in my natural history study in biobank. And I'm really excited about some upcoming translational projects I have with those patient samples and their clinical data. I also do basic bench science research looking at mechanisms of muscle regeneration and mouse models of myositis and muscle injury. And my research when I first started was really supported by our institution with startup funding, and I feel so fortunate to have that opportunity. I more recently have received grant awards through CTDSI and some external awards through foundations. I collaborate nationally with the JDM research community through CARA and IMAX, and I'm very involved in those initiatives. I'm also our CARA site PI, and work closely with our research associate, Erin Hamliff, and we've really increased our CARA enrollment here at MCW in Children's, which is wonderful. I also play a large role in mentoring our fellows in their research projects, and I mentor Dr. Kirkpatrick and Dr. B in their research projects, looking at nail fold capillaroscopy and looking at transition of care to adult medicine. The best part of being on the Children's Wisconsin Rhuematology team is really the people that make up our division. We're a collaborative team, and each of us brings something very unique to the table. I'm a mom of 3 young kids, and I've always felt very supported by our division and the team player mentality that we have. Also, as an early investigator, I feel efforts to support and develop my research career have always been very fostered here. And I'm fortunate to be in this institution because we value research and we value mentorship, but there's also many opportunities for resources through our core services, through internal funding opportunities and formal mentorship programs, and really a lot of collaboration through the Children's Research Institute.
My name is James Verbsky. I am a MD PhD and a professor of pediatrics here. I've been here 18 years. I was recruited here by Dr. Williams because we both were at Washington University at the time. So I came right out of my fellowship. I do rheumatology, but actually most of my time now is in immune deficiency, which is one of my interests. So I run the immune deficiency program here. So I'm constantly talking to the fellows about rare immune deficiency and genes to think about. I also run our clinical flow cytometry laboratory. So we do a bunch of advanced testing, immune testing to look for primary immune deficiencies and such. I also do research on pretty much rare diseases, mainly immune deficiencies, but sometimes fever syndrome. So I think I try to take patients and try to work them up and try to understand what's happening. It's a hit or miss proposition, but that's what happens. And I think we obviously do a lot of teaching. I teach in the medical school and graduate school for basic immunology. So I do a number of things. I also oversee the translational research unit and some of the translational research that goes on here as well. I agree with what everyone else says. It's really been a enjoyable group of people to work with. I think the one thing that I think is the real special is for us really mid-sized, easy town to live in. We have a big hospital and we see a lot of stuff, and you don't always get that in some places. So we see a lot of rare diseases, and it's fun to see them and learn about them. So
hi, I'm Jay Nocton. I am the person who's been here the longest, apparently. So I joined the faculty in 1994. That makes me, as Danielle said, experienced, but not old, right? Just experienced. I also came right out of fellowship, and I've loved it so much here. It's the only job I've ever had. So, and I don't intend to ever have another job. I've spent my career essentially taking care of patients and as an educator. Clinically, I see the entire spectrum of children with rheumatic diseases, and Along with Danielle, I am the other ultrasound trained person in our section. So I do both diagnostic ultrasound as well as ultrasound guided injections and help to teach the fellows to do those. As an educator, I'm a former residency program director. I was the department's residency program director here for 11 years. And then I was our fellowship program director for 10 years prior to handing that over to Danielle last year. So I've had essentially 20 years of experience in educational administration. And in addition to training residents and fellows, I have been our section's director of all of the medical student electives for both third-year students and fourth-year students. I do a lot of direct teaching myself of students, residents, and fellows, and plan on continuing to do that. In addition to my clinical and educational responsibilities, I also have, I dabble as an investigator. I do collaborative research, doing things like being our site PI for clinical trials and registries. I write book chapters, review articles, and occasionally collaborate with others with other publications. I'm going to echo what everyone else has said. We have a terrific group of people in our section, and I really enjoyed working with all of you. Our department, the entire Department of Pediatrics, has been a special place with lots of great people here. And over the 30 years I've been here, I've really enjoyed working with everyone in the department. And what's really been a pleasure as an educator has been to train and watch our current faculty like Emma and Danielle start as interns, work their way through residency, work their way through fellowship, see them develop their skills, their knowledge, and now become faculty, and now even get a chance to see them becoming accomplished faculty members. And that's been just a real pleasure. So again, it's the only job I've ever had, 30 years, and I don't plan on ever having another one. And it's been a great place to be.
Wonderful. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Jay. Thanks. It's easy to go last because, as you can see, we have a fantastic group of rheumatologists here, a fantastic team, and a fantastic department. And I'm Cal Williams. I've been the section chief here for 22 years. Speaking of the fellowship program, I started the fellowship program here in 2005. And shortly thereafter, I think Dr. Nocton took that over, and now Dr. Fair is our fellowship director. So as you can see, we value all the missions, whether it's education, whether it's clinical service or research. I myself, as an MD PhD, am a basic science researcher, and I do really early stage investigations in preclinical models of immune mediated diseases. So that's how I've spent the majority of my career. That's led to, or that did lead to my appointment as the Chief Scientific Officer at Children's, position that I've held for over a decade now. I think that's what's special about our environment. It's just that we're balanced in all the missions, we support all the missions, and we're quite capable of developing the career of aspirations of any early stage faculty person, regardless of what their particular interests are. So I think that's been probably the greatest joy that I've had, is to see so many people, young people, come through and to be able to help them to achieve their goals for their employment, for their job. I mean, so I think we support all those missions well. You know, we're a congenial group of folks. We get along well, and we do see a lot of patients, and we see a lot of very interesting and challenging cases. So it's a great place to train. It's a great place to be. And as you can see, a number of us have come and stayed simply because it is a wonderful place to have a career.
Well, thank you, everybody, for taking the time to introduce yourselves to potential future fellows. And we hope to you that are watching this that maybe we will see you down the interview trail.